good effort.
Hiya, Mark.
Hiya.
Hiya, Mark.
Good evening.
Hiya.
Hello.
Yeah, what are we talking about tonight then, Mark? Seen all your amazing videos.
We'll talk about anything you like.
Can I ask a question, Mark?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. The woman in Norwich that lost her farm.
Yeah.
I'm totally distraught for the poor lass, obviously. Not anyone can do about it at this minute in time, but Tom Crawford went through the same thing, where he lost his house, and he later on fought, and I've heard that he's actually won. Now, I don't know if he has, or if he hasn't, or whichever. Is this woman going to go down the same route? Because if she is, I'm sort of like worried for her because of how dishonest everything is. She ain't going to get any justice in the long run anyhow, I personally feel. How's it gone with it, Matt?
She's still fighting, but it's the same old. I now know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you cannot get any justice in the court system. You simply cannot, because they will put a gatekeeper judge in and they will rule against you even though you can prove your case.
Yeah. Scary, isn't it?
So,
I mean, Tom's fighting it the official way, and he's got evidence that blows it to pieces. But of course, they don't want to listen to any of that because they're all in it together.
It's scary, isn't it? Sorry, Andy.
I was going to say, do you believe, Mark, we just played the clip from Nilu. She done a citizen's arrest on the police. I mean, is that going to work? Is stopping the bailiffs going to work? What is going to work?
I did a citizen's arrest on a couple of apparently High Court sheriffs, although, of course, anyone that does any research knows that they're not High Court sheriffs at all. They just use the name High Court Sheriff as their company logo, and you think they're from the sheriff's office. And when the police came, they did nothing. Absolutely nothing, even though I'd arrested one of them.
So, see, when I did it for the Hull MP, Turner, I basically had my head was up my backside, basically, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was saying. But we've got to get to the stage where it's just all bloody wrong, isn't it?
It's not just wrong, it's corrupt, and again, this sort of thing should be really talked about on the show itself rather than on a call. But the corruption is throughout everything. I'm sure your council is exactly the same as ours. They have a partnership with the police, so that you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. We do anything wrong, you keep it stum. You do anything wrong, we won't do anything.
Yeah, I found that out. To my cost.
And by the way, we are on the show, Mark, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's good, then.
Just in case you wondered.
Yeah, I mean, it's as much information as you can bang out back, the better, because there's no point a numpty like me. He said, I'm doing this. Sorry, Andy is as well, and there's a few more now that's coming to Hull on November the 5th. So arrest these MPs and councillors because basically I've had enough. I mean, I've had the police at my house tell me to back off and everything and leave them alone and all this, that and the other. And why do you want to know about council money and everything? And like I said, I'm public servant. I pay the bloody wages. It's out of the taxes, for God's sake. And it makes no difference what you say, what you ask for. When you name the laws that they're breaking, they just ignore it. And who are you going to complain to? The police that they're in a partnership with. Well, what's going to happen from that? Nothing. So, but there again, Mark, there's a few coppers that I've talked to. Well, more than a few, actually. And their ears are pricking up. And they're saying, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, you're right. These councillors and MPs are corrupt. And when I turn around to them and say, help me sort it out,
Well, Yeah, it's all right saying that a few of the cops are saying, oh, yeah, this is wrong, this is corrupt. But when it comes down to it, and their Freemason chief constable says, you go and do this, they go and do that without question. So it's all right saying, yeah, I know this is wrong, but they're allowing it to happen. They're worse than anyone else because they know it's wrong and they're allowing it to happen.
Right, so we need to spread this net a lot wider then. So not only MPs and councillors, but also the top police officers.
I would be surprised if you could find any chief constable that isn't either a Freemason or his wife is a Freemason, because that's another thing they use to get in. Rather than have the chief constable as a Freemason where people could find that out, they have his wife as a high-ranking Freemason and she tells him what to do.
Well, either way, we need to broaden our nets for arresting not just the councillors and MPs, but also the top police officers then.
Right, I've got someone who's talking to me on one of the chat programs saying that they still can't hear anything on the radio.
Andy, unpress mute.
Unpress mute. We're connected there, right? Tell them they have to press the button, of course.
It's Kev. He knows how to do it.
Oh, Kev, right, okay. Let me just read. Listen, I mean.
He's just replied with, he can hear F all.
It wouldn't surprise me. Oh, yeah, somebody's just told me, my friend Stash, I'm listening on Blog Talk loud and clear. So, yeah, then, I've got somebody saying it's no problem.
Right. Well, I don't know, because Kev knows how to do it, and he can't hear anything.
No, he knows how to do it.
He's on Blog Talk, Mark.
From all I can see is what he's typing, and he's saying he can't hear anything at the moment.
Well, he needs to restart his computer. Sorry.
Well, basically, then we need to widen our net then, because basically it's the full top tier, isn't it? It's everyone. Well, in fact, like I said earlier, it's just the MPs, the portfolio holder councillors, and the top civil servants. About 20 people in Hull City Council that are civil servants that need arresting for what they've done.
Yes, but when you arrest them, then what are you going to do?
I don't know. That's going to be the next step for the police, because obviously I'm now thinking, right, we need to obviously spread the net a bit wider and arrest maybe the top police officers as well that are doing the flipping jobs.
Yeah, and then once you arrest them, who are you going to hand them over to?
Well, this is where we need the police to start helping the public.
You're going down the wrong alley there. That is never, ever going to happen. If you're relying on the police, we've already lost.
Right.
Am I getting warm when I say that somehow you need to take the money and the assets away from the Freemasons and get rid of them?
All Freemasons should be forced to, as far as I'm concerned, have a tattoo on their head saying I'm a Freemason, and then anyone walking down the street that wants to beat the shit out of them can do so. Because I know I'd beat the shit out of many Freemasons.
Well,
not those at level 3 or below, because they haven't got a clue. In fact, up to level 30, they don't know what the real game is. And even after they get to level 30, they could or may be told what's really going on, which means that they probably aren't going to get told unless they've proven that they're absolutely sick paedophiles as well.
What sort of frigging world are we living in? Seriously.
We've let it get this way. We've all been complaining.
Well, we haven't. We've not known about it.
No, that's not. No, I disagree with that. It's in your face. It's absolutely in your face.
I didn't know about this, Andy. Sorry, Mark. I didn't know about this. Did you look? 4 or 5 years ago. Sorry, Matt. Go on.
Did you look though?
No.
There was something. That's what I'm saying. There was something that started you looking. The whole point is this stuff isn't hidden. This is in your face, and they are laughing at you while they put it in your face, and they laugh thinking, these dumb goyim haven't got a clue what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I say, 4 years ago, until I come into saying, right, I'm going to go into politics now because I'm sick of all this rubbish that I've been shit. And as soon as I come into this, and it's only 4 years, 3 years ago, was when, boom, I've had my head flipping, I've had it prized open. And the stuff that I've had to sort out in my own head, I didn't think about any of this, but I've known that was like with everyone else, and everyone I ask, no matter who it is or where it is, I've been all over the country, do you trust MPs, do you trust councillors? No. There's never been one person that said yes. So that's as far as it ever got with me until 3 years ago. 3 years ago, when I come into this and thought, right, I'm going to bloody stand because my area needs sorting out. Then I get all this other stuff, and it's sort of like everything's opening up, and I'm like, Jesus, what is going on? And I keep saying, these people are adults. They're not babes. They're actually adults.
They are, but they have no empathy for anyone else, and that's how they get to the positions of power. They will step on anyone, they will abuse anyone, they will do whatever they can to get in a position of power, because then who's going to tell them they can't do it if they're the ones giving the orders out?
Yeah, well, it's all backfiring a bit now, isn't it? Because so many people now are starting to ask questions. Like myself, like you, like everyone else. We're starting to ask the question, well, hang on, if the public's in charge, how is the public in charge? Why can't we question you?
Well, you know, whenever this sort of thing comes up, I always say, if they were public servants, would you be paying your servant £170,000 a year? And the answer is always no. So they're not your servants. They are your masters and your controllers, and you slaves better do as you're told, otherwise we're going to come down on you with like a pile of shit and bury you.
Yeah, like I was saying to Andy. Yeah, I'm now not. What's the word, Andy? What was it?
I have got a question for Mark though. I mean, he's very right, definitely right. What would you do, or what would you encourage people to do then if well, it's not just the UK, as it's the world's corrupt, you know, so we have to live here. What can we do to solve the problem?
You're absolutely correct. It is the whole Western world. Anywhere that has a Rothschild's bank in charge is where the problem stems from. But you always sort these problems out by sorting your own house out first. So the first thing we've got to do is sort this country out. There are too many criminals, paedophiles, that have been running this country, and most people won't want to hear this, but the country is run by paedophiles and criminals, and they go hand in hand with each other, right back to the likes of the Krays. They were paedophiles. Yes, admittedly, burglars didn't go around burgling in their territory because they would have got hold of them and sorted them out, but they were also paedophiles as well. So we've got to sort it out all across the board. And anyone that doesn't want to sort it out is one of them. It's as simple as that. And they'll say, well, you know, I've got to do I'll follow my orders, I've got to do what I'm told. No, you haven't. I'm telling you to do.
No, we all know right from wrong.
You're not doing what I say. So what?
Yeah, we all know right from wrong.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, when we say it all the time, attempted evictions or whatever, you might just say you're just doing your job. It didn't work, even though Nuremberg was a whitewash and all those that were real criminals got away. They were only the patsies that ended up in Nuremberg. And just doing a job didn't work then, doesn't work now, and will never work. At the end of the day, you make a conscious decision to do whatever you're told. And if you choose to do it and know it's wrong, you're as much of a criminal as those that's given you the orders.
Yeah. So really, and it's going ahead, and I know what you're saying, Andy, because hopefully by the 5th of November, there'll be something in the pipeline that we can actually go to. But it's going ahead. I am still going to be finding the MPs and councillors to arrest, because to me, I've got to do something. I can't just sit back and watch my own city get doused with flipping. We're getting fluorided to death now. Flipping the areas. They're just not putting the money where they should be. They're just taking money as they like, and it's blatant. It's in your face.
Well, it's just like Nottingham Criminal Cartel. They gave thousands upon thousands to BioCity, which are experimenting on animals, and they gave, I think it was something like 350,000 to that private corporation. Who the hell does the leader of the city council, John Collins, think he is, giving away taxpayers' money, nearly £500,000 to a private corporation? Well, he can because he can. He's the leader. He's not the elected leader, he's the selected leader. But he can because he's in that position. And who's going to challenge him?
Well, the public. That's our job.
I've been challenging him for years now. I've had all sorts of crap off them. I've had an attempted injunction, which wasn't an injunction. It was issued by them, pretending to be some sort of court and not have some sort of authority. And you'll probably find the same thing happens over in Hull, that the council actually...
I had that last year, Mark. I got a private injunction slapped on me last year for a year.
Well, the council actually own the courts.
I know.
So if they own the courts, then who are the courts going to be on side with? Oh, but wait, it's all fair and legitimate. You know, we listen to both sides and then we go with the ones that pay our money. So, you know, you can't win in the courts, full stop.
No,
if you're still trying to win in the courts, you're fighting a losing battle.
But if we are, I'm saying if we are put out in the public knowledge, more and more people are starting to ask questions, and there's hundreds that are asking me about it now. What's happening? You know, I might be able to turn up. Look there, if you turn up, you turn up. If you don't, you don't. I'm not bothered. I'm still doing this because it's the public's right to sort it out. If I see corruption, it's the same as if I went out stealing, I'd expect to get arrested. Simple as that. Now, this money that's gone missing, it's stolen. Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's stolen. And until they prove otherwise, and it's only certain people, until they prove otherwise, I'm going to arrest them. I've got no choice. And when it's embarrassing for them, and they have to give up their office and all this and other stuff, that's just so many people now are asking questions. You must get hundreds a day now, Mark.
Well, when I started this, which was late 90s probably, so it's been a long time for me. When you look back then, and I was trying to wake people up then, and it was like, you know, knocking on an empty door, because, you know, they just look at me and laugh at me. Oh, that crazy lad thinks there's a conspiracy going, because that's how we've been brainwashed. If you mention the word conspiracy, they automatically come up with, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. All these conspiracies are real, or the majority anyway. And if anyone said to me, well, even if a court wouldn't accept that there was a conspiracy, well, I can tell you from first-hand knowledge that's a load of crap, because when me and my 5 friends, including Craig Crawford and Gins, when we 6 got on the roof, they charged us with so many things, it was unbelievable, but they chopped and changed it so much. Originally, we were charged conspiracy to commit criminal damage and conspiracy to commit violent disorder. Now, there was no violence from us whatsoever, but these were the charges. They charged us, and we went to Crown Court with that, and we proved that it didn't happen like the way they said, and we got found not guilty. So the courts know that conspiracies happen. But if you ever go to the police with a conspiracy, they will say, oh, it's hard to prove a conspiracy, and yet they were the first to charge us. They'd already had word exactly what they were going to charge us with when we got off that route, and it was conspiracy. So conspiracies happen.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I've been through the court system myself only last year and watched in disbelief and totally disbelief. But I've got faith in the public, mate. Again, like I did with Sean Maguire about 6 months, a year ago. Can I apologise to you, Mark, for I was one of them people turning around to you, what a nutter he is. Sorry, mate. No, it's all right laughing, but...
No. The reason I'm laughing is, like I said, I've been doing this for well over 15 years now, and way back then, everyone said I was crazy. Whereas it becomes apparent after a while, if you just slightest bit of research into what I've been trying to tell everyone, that what I've been saying is correct. And yes, I understand when people call me crazy. Even some of my mates were calling me crazy, but I knew what I was saying was right, and I knew it was a dire situation. If we didn't get this information out there, then we're all going to end up in concentration camps, and the likes of us will be first. We're all the red list. We're all dead. As soon as if they got in, the ones speaking out, would be the first in the concentration camps and executed.
Apologies to you, mate. I know it doesn't mean a lot because, you know, it's all like, but my apologies for I'm one of them that was saying it. So
I think a lot of the problem is, Colin and Mark, is education. People need to educate themselves what's going on. Don't take things literally, you know. Go to the library, go to the newspapers that tell the truth if there's any. Go to the good blogs. You know, turn up at these meetings that they have in Nottingham and other places, you know, with Guy Taylor as well as Mark, and just educate yourself. That's the only way, really.
Absolutely.
Well, they are. They are, aren't they? And at the end of the day, and like I said, I've only come into this 3 years ago.
I think we've got another caller, by the way, Colin.
Oh, go for it, mate. Go for it.
Sorry. Hello, Colin. Hello, caller.
Oh, hello. Hi, am I live, am I?
You are, yeah. Who's this?
My name is John.
Hello, John. You've got Mark Ceylon here and Colin Worrall and myself, Andy.
Well, I'm very honoured, Mark. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Yeah, very impressed. Very impressed, sir. I've been wanting to sort of meet up with you in Nottingham, but I regularly sort of watch your website, so I've just been out running, so I'm a bit out of breath. I just saw that you were on live tonight and didn't think I'd get through.
It's the people like you that we need, because okay, so you've seen what I've done and put out on that, but now it's time for you to go and start talking to others. But here's my book. Don't give them too much info. And if they're not interested, forget about them and move on to someone else. Because, I mean, there are people now that I thought would never wake up, and they are waking up.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
If I compare this back to when I started on this sort of path, it was like, maybe I am crazy, maybe I am wrong, but I knew I wasn't.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is first of all, I felt like that I was the end of the world is nigh, with the board hanging around my neck. And the hardest thing was to convince my wife. I'd done the council tax quite a few years ago, and she thought I was nuts. You know, but the thing was, we had to give in. We'd done it for a year. I started trying to find out about their CAFRA accounts. And they then, while I was in court, they turned around and said, well, if we don't get to you, we'll get to your wife. And it purely is a cartel. But recently we've had a result where someone sent us a link testing smart water. And she was very shocked to see what we were getting through the tap, and it woke her up completely.
Yeah, the beauty is, it might not be something you mean to say that actually wakes someone up, but whatever it is, you know, I tend to like to say, oh, have you seen this? And let them go and do the research, because they think, oh, look what I found out. And then they're more willing to believe it because it comes from them. So it is a very sort of like iffy area. You've got to feel how people are reacting to what you're saying. And then, although in years, you know, a few years ago, I would overload people, you know, because I would give them, they'd be interested, so I'd give them more and give them more and give them more until their head exploded, basically.
Right.
And that's the wrong way to do things. You've got to do it gently and gradually. But while you're on about council tax, did you know that council tax is a trust?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Well, that is your remedy.
Right. Right, because of trust law.
Well, without saying too much, because I've got friends doing a lot of work in the background. I mean, I'm sort of like out there, you know, everyone knows my face, but I've got a lot of really clever friends in the background that are also doing a lot of the work, and they don't want to be mentioned until, well, they might never want to be mentioned, but they don't want to be mentioned either way until they know for 100% what they're doing is working. And we've got several people doing several different things at the moment, and so far the councils don't know what to do about it because we've got them by the short and curly. But again, I can't talk about that because there's a lot of things I can't talk about that are work in progresses. But we are definitely winning, and they are crapping themselves.
Right.
What area do you live in?
It's very good to know, though. I just you know, I watched you the other day, Mark, and you looked quite a little bit despondent. Let's put it that way. And but it is like banging your head against the wall some days. You know, I found there was no one. I'm down in Devon, and there was no one really to turn to down here. You know,
I know several people around that sort of area, including Max.
Right.
There's several in that. There's always more there than you actually think, but you're probably not putting yourself out there as much, and so how are they going to find you?
Right, that's probably true. Yeah.
I'm loud and noisy, and you know you can ignore me, but you'll still hear me.
Yeah, I'd never guess. But no, I wanted to say just, you know, you absolutely, back in the days of Robin Hood, you're a true hero, mate. I'd love to see, you know, you keep it up, and you know, we look quite closely with Tom, and you know, wondered if he's had any movement at all.
He has, but he can't talk about it as it's ongoing. Like I said, there's so much ongoing at the moment that I can't give any information about because it could jeopardise what's going on. But
I think the problem is, isn't it? I think the problem, Mark, is that there's that much going on. These people, the councils, the courts, they're getting hit by everybody. Literally everybody's hitting them, and they just don't know what to do. But it's down to like yourself, mate. It's down to you talking to your friends, to your family. Look, you know, we're all lunatics at the end of the day. We must be, but we're people that care. We're people that care about our areas and about our friends, about the things that we have to pay out, and we can't afford it anymore. So just keep chatting, mate. Just keep adding people and chatting, and who knows? You might start your own little stuff up in Devon.
Well, someone turned around to me and said that I talked to him about 7 years ago, and I thought he was mad, but now every day he looks saner.
Well, we're all in that boat now, aren't we? Every single one of us.
I'd love to get in touch with you, Mark, if that's possible.
What you were saying? What you were saying about me being a little down. Just over 2 week period, I lost 3 family members. So it took me. I've still not passed it yet, but it's taken me quite a time to just try and come to terms with it, because one of them was there's a big story behind it, and again, that's something else that's ongoing that I can't talk about, which is criminal what happened there. But so I've had a few, a summer of unhappiness so far. But when I compare it to when I started doing this sort of thing, I see nothing but joy, because so many are becoming aware of what's going on. And that's the key. Getting their numbers aware, even though, like Colin was saying, I think it was Colin, said that he thought I was crazy. And the stuff I talk about does sound crazy, because we've been brainwashed to think the world is the way it is and there's nothing you can do about it, and you're helpless little you. And when I found out what was going on, to the bigger degree, I decided I was going to shout it from the rooftops, and I was never, ever going to stop shouting until everyone knew. And I honestly believe that anyone else that had found the information out that I was finding out would have done the same, because it is an attack on humanity. They want us dead, plain and simple. And anyone that doubts that, just point into the Georgia Guidestones, where it says they want 500 million, and that means they've got to get rid of 7 billion of us. That includes you, me, and everyone we know.
Yeah. I think the language fraud done it for me. The language fraud. You know, going into court, I had to do it myself to see what it was like. I ran after the counsellors when I came out of court to their car and told them that man had no soul in the courtroom. He wouldn't answer my questions. But I actually entrapped him by saying, well, I've read your law to the local barrister. And I got him very well. I kept it very civil, didn't swear. I think that's half of it as well. Even though you want to get a rope and hang him, really. I turned around to her and said, look, I've read your law. I said, are we all equal in the eyes of the law? And she said, yeah, of course we are, John. And I went, oh, thank goodness for that. And she said, why is that, John? I said, well, it says that ministers are exempt from levy. So if ministers are exempt from levy, need I finish the conversation? And, you know, they left me alone for a year and didn't know really what to do with me. And it was, like I say, I was only looking into their accounts, because they've got a lot of money, the council has.
The council have enough money to run every city. Every council has enough money to run every city for at least 5 years without charging council tax or anything. This is how much money they have in the reserves. But they don't want you to know that.
No, of course they don't. No. I mean,
all you have to look up. All you have to look up is 788 Finchley Road. Look up that.
Oh, yeah.
It's moved from there now.
Obviously, but it's still linked into it with Peter and Gordon and John. Just look at that stuff. You see, this is the weird bit, Mark, and this is the weird bit that gets me. A lot of people know this stuff, but no one's putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 4. They're coming up with 5. They're coming up with 6. They're coming up with 7. We need to start, like, 5th of November, what we're going to do. I keep preaching.
Don't say it unless you want it out, obviously.
It's happening. I did it last year when I went to arrest Carl Turner, the MP of Hull. I did it. I was on Twitter trying to find them. I was telling them I'm looking for them, everything. Because to me, they're criminals. Of course they are. Every single one of them are criminals. All they're doing is stealing off us. And nobody likes that.
No, well, I worry for the kids than the money for me. It's not the money, it's the children, you know, if you're leaving family and children you got, you know, and what they're doing to them, really. It's trying to wake people up to realise what is really going on. You know?
Here's something very, very scary, right? You remember when you was at school?
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? Actually, you were taught something. It wasn't particularly great, but you were actually taught something. And our problem is, we now think that our kids are being taught what we were taught at school. They are not. They are being brainwashed and indoctrinated into a dictatorship that they want to bring over us. But most will think that, they're getting taught just like I did. It's nothing like that no more. It's an exact dictatorship being brought in front of our faces, but they're too late because too many are aware now. Too many are awake, and they're even starting to panic now. They know the cat's out of the bag.
That's why they don't like homeschooling, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, that's why they'll well, that, and also the fact that they get paid a large amount of money for every day your kids in the indoctrination centres.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever find it a problem to trust?
Say that again.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm saying to Mark, do you ever find it a problem who to trust? You know.
Yes, I could probably tell you. I've got my left hand in front of me, and that's probably the amount of people who I would actually really trust.
Yeah, I'm going to say I've been to council meetings, and there's obviously shills put in there to shut people down. You know, they keep telling me to go. We want to see you afterwards. We want to see you afterwards, because I keep mentioning the boy. You know, about not being a person. Everybody, let's all be men and women, and really, you know, and they just don't want that.
That's how I've been blocked from every residents' meeting, council meeting, and all. I'm not allowed to go to any of them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. What they tend to do, what I've found in my experiences when I've been to these meetings, asking questions, exposing the corruption, because that's what it's about at the end of the day, is that they have a set number of sort of trolls in there, but what they tend to do is they say, right, we'll take a question from you, and you, and they're all the ones that are pre-picked, where you be very lucky if you get pointed. And well, for me, there's no hope of me getting a question in, because they see my face and they go, it's in.
Oh, yeah. Right. Shall I let another caller get on, do you think?
You say again?
Shall I let another caller get on, do you think? Am I keeping
you going? It's entirely up to you, mate. You can stick around, you can carry on asking questions, you can do what you like, bud, because at the end of the day, the more that we keep talking, the more that we can tell everybody, and the more people that know.
I was taking over, that was the thing, you know, you guys...
Nobody's taking over, mate. No, if anyone takes over, Andy will soon say, wait, shut up.
Here's the thing. It's not about telling anyone, because you try telling someone something, and the first thing they're going to do is fight against you.
Yeah.
So you don't tell them. You ask, oh, have you seen this? What did you think of that? Ask questions, because then you're interacting with them, and they've got to use the brain to think of an answer. And if they've done any looking into stuff, or even if they haven't, because some that don't know anything that's going on know something's wrong, but they're hungry for the information. They are absolutely dying, chomping at the bit, but they won't come out and tell you they're looking for it because they're frightened. You're going to call them a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd like to throw something in the mix. I watched one of your videos about the Satanic Church exposed, and I'm not sure if it was the Hampstead kids. SRA aside a little bit for now, then you can bring that up if you want, Mark. But do you think these poor people, I mean, I'll call them poor, but they're not poor, they're just very unfortunate never to get justice. I mean, I'm talking about the people like Mickey Summers and Melanie Shaw and, you know, Holly Greggs and, you know, my wife Joanne. Will they ever see, you know, justice on this planet for what happened to them?
Absolutely. Absolutely, and it's coming sooner than they would like.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit, or is it part of the...
There's so much going on. Again, there's things that I can't talk about because it's ongoing. But there's so much going on. We've got them by the short and curlies. They know we've got them by the short and curlies. The only problem we have at the moment is, who do you tell? Because if it's anyone to do with the government, well, those in charge in positions of power in the government are, in my opinion, absolute paedophiles. And this is what they use against them to blackmail them so they do what they want. In the police, they're either Masons, paedophiles, or both. That's them ruled out. The army, the very top of the army, are Masons or paedophiles. They've run this planet for a long time. And this is satanic, absolutely satanic. Not just for Hampstead. The whole planet is run by Satanists in Australia, France, Germany, the US, England, you name it. Every Western country is run by paedophiles. Or to put it a better way, child rapists and murderers. because that's what they are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's my mother is a telephonist all her life, and she I was sat down with her, and some people don't, when you sort of mention that word, they don't, what are you mentioning that word in this conversation for? Because it shouldn't be swept under the carpet, which is what I replied to my mother. She then replied to me and said, yeah, but you shouldn't really talk. And I said, Mum, you know, it's all in the, you know, these barons, these lords, these people in high places, they're all abusing children. Oh, yes, we knew the lords have been abusing children. They've been doing it for years. And I went, well, it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, that's the worst bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
It's scary. It is scary how many are prepared to turn a blind eye until it's their own child. Then it's a different story.
Well, that's
until they get caught.
You know,
well, yeah, I expose it for every single child that has and still is, because if you think that the child sexual rape and torture has gone away, not a chance. They're loving it. They're doing it right now.
Spanish Inquisition, haven't we? I don't think any of it's gone.
Exactly. But it's for Joe Public, it has. It's all gone away because you just carry on going to work for 80 hours a week. Ignore those men raping the children over there. Just keep moving. That's how we've been.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing to get through people as well, the politicians, when they talk about, oh, well, you know, Corbyn's going to do this and they're going to do that. It's just, what the hell? You know,
fog.
If you're talking politics at all, you've already lost. They are all bought and paid for. They are all connected. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn, 12 to 15 grand a month. Yeah. What incentive does he have to do anything good? Oh, if I do something good, I might not get me 12 to 15 grand a month. What am I going to do then? Oh, I might have to go and get a normal job like Joe Public. And he's been in it since the 80s and was connected to a paedophile ring in his area in London.
God. It's scary, isn't it, man? It's scary. What? You see, this is why they have the closed shop. Why normal people can't get into politics as well, as I found. When I first started 3 years ago, I joined UKIP because it was the only party that had let me in, and they basically didn't know what they was letting in, because I was like, I'm going to sack the lot. Simple as that. If I get in, I'm sacking the lot. And unfortunately for me, because I was telling them what I was going to do, that's why they made sure I didn't get in. To me, even watching them blatantly in front of me tamper with the ballot papers.
It's a closed game. There's no way anyone with any decent ambition or good feeling for everyone will ever get into a place of evil, which is what Parliament is.
Yeah. Smoke and mirrors.
It's definitely smoke and mirrors, yeah.
Wait, you just need to take the words back to the, like, Parliament. Parley, French for talk, meant it can be mind or lies. So Parliament is talk lies or talk mind, and they are mind controllers. I mean, there was the 7/7 attacks. The year before the 7/7 attacks, they put out a thing on the good old reliable BBC, because they'd never do any harm to anyone. Oh, forgot about all the paedophiles involved. Well, anyway, I digress. They put a programme out talking about if 3 tube stations got attacked and a truck bomb was used in this particular scenario. And one of the MPs, he's a well-known MP, says, oh, what we do if this happened is we take over the TV and we put our story out. This was on a programme. They were telling you, this is what I say, they do put it in your face, but the majority, well, I don't think it is the majority anymore. I think it's the minority now, believe all that crap. Whereas they were just building you up for what they were going to do on 7/7. So it was, oh, God, because they put it a year before, and then the stuff about 7/7 and 9/11, it's so in your face that they must be laughing all the way to the bank. As
I don't think they're laughing, Mark. I actually personally think they're absolutely making so many cock-ups because they haven't got a clue what they're doing, and they're just thinking, let's just try this, because if this works, and we can bring guns in, and everyone's going to accept it. But how many people accept our police officers with guns? I don't.
Well, look how many people they've murdered in just the last 10 years without guns.
Yeah.
Imagine how that's going to go through the roof.
Yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg as well, mate, because they will not release the total figures of people that they have actually killed.
Oh, of course not.
It's never going to be released.
Then Joe Public would be crapping himself if he thought he had to go out on the street and face a cop and could be murdered. And I'm not saying
every day,
killed.
I know every day.
But Joe Public doesn't see it that way yet. And they're the ones that they're preying on. Those that are too stupid or too lazy or just too damn tired from doing all their work to have any time left over to do any research. That's what they've done. And the biggest problem they caused for themselves was when they started making the actual country collapse. So loads of people got laid off. When you get laid off, okay, you might have a little bit of money to survive for a while. And what do? Well, you look for jobs. Oh, there's no jobs out there. Okay, well, let's just look around it. Oh, what's this? Oh, there's corruption everywhere. And that's why a lot are waking up.
That one thing I wanted to
before we go on, a friend of mine who's sending me messages just said that for council tax, your remedy is in the Government Finance 1992 Act, Section 3.
Right.
So if you want to go and look that up, you'll find that could be one of your remedies to the council tax.
I will certainly give that a try. Thanks very much.
That's for not paying it, obviously. Or is that for you to sweeten them with paying nothing?
Well, it's for you to read and educate yourself and then decide which way you want to. Don't forget, whatever. I mean, I'm crazy. I admit I'm crazy. Some of the things I've done, I'd have to be crazy to do them, like getting on Tom's roof. That's just I know I'm going to get arrested, but I got on there, and I got on there with my phone and everything, and the only thing I'm not going to say but there was something I managed to bring down with me that later became out, but that's the thing. But for me to do that, any thought or planning, that's crazy. Either crazy or I was that sick of what was going on, I was going to do anything to highlight the fact of what was going on.
Yeah, I think it was tax money. My tax money was going towards murdering children and genocide and an illegal war, and that's what done it for me for the council tax, was handing money over that it was killing people. I mean, Coventry Council, didn't their money go towards cluster bombs that was advertised on the hour?
I'll also mention here the bills of exchange, because if you look into that, where utilities are concerned, utilities are also a construed trust.
Right.
And once everything is trusts, you just don't realise it. Again, a mate of mine was reminding me of this, that a trust, the way a trust works is you don't have to know you're in a trust, and they don't have to tell you you're in a trust. Once you figure out the way, I mean, I'm not giving the whole game away here, because there's a lot of people, a lot of my friends working down this route and doing things that I'm not going to divulge yet. But let's just say we've got them beat. We have absolutely had them beat, and they're going to ignore the fact that we beat them using their own rules and regulations, and they'll just come heavy-handed and kick your door in, beat you up, and steal whatever they can. Because who's going to stop them? Oh, we'll call the police in. Right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, something happened. My missus was saying today or yesterday actually, she was watching one of these can't pay, we'll take it away BBC propaganda pieces, and the head two sheriffs, bailiffs, whatever they were acting as, because neither of them were sheriffs or bailiffs, they were just pretending, but they called the police because they went to this lockup, and the guy says, well, you give us a copy of the warrant and I'll check with my legal department, make sure it's okay, then if it is, you can go in. They go, no, we're not showing you that, you're not having that. Well, if you've got nothing to hide, But anyway, they refused. So they called the police. Within 10 minutes, 3 cop cars, 6 police were there, and they were aiding and abetting the bailiffs, sheriffs, whatever they were. Now, you can say your house has been burgled, and you'll be lucky if you get a visit within 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's true. Do you know, has anyone ever tried, I'd be interested, to get one of those little labelers and just label everything up property of a trust? You could do the paperwork yourself, couldn't you?
Well, you can, but you need to make sure it's spot on, and you don't need to go that far. You can do a more broader document stating that you are renting everything in your property from a very trusted someone, and anything that's not owned by them will have a sticker on, because if you had to sticker everything, you might miss something. Whereas if you only have to sticker things that belong to you, well, that's easier, isn't it? Because if it's not got a sticker, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to whoever you're renting it from. That's that's a long time old way of doing things, but it's a very simple way.
Right. Yeah. Because I looked at something about notarizing your own documents with a postal stamp. Have you ever done anything with that?
Yeah, that's under the Postal Act. You can notarize it with 3 stamps, 2 on the front, 1 on the back, using your thumbprint. It must have a date under every stamp, and it also must have your signature across at a diagonal angle across the stamp as well. Right. But yes, that is perfectly acceptable, although they do try to ignore things, because as we've figured more and more out, because I can tell you now, they never, ever thought we would figure out this huge scam. So now it's like about 5 or 6 years ago, I was exposing the fact that parking tickets were an offer of a contract, which they absolutely are. And under contract rules, you get a parking ticket, which is an offer of a contract, you can return it, reject it, refuse for cause. Because you're saying, no, I don't want nothing to do with your contract, you can do one. As long as you do it within 3 days, 72 hours, and under contract law, it's gone. Now, at the time, I was on Get Out of Debt Free, which has now been taken over by a bunch of crooks. But I put it out on there, what I was doing, and you can still find it if you go back on the Wayback Machine, I think, and you'll see where I put out what I was doing, what I'd done, here's the ticket, here's what I put on it, and here's the letter. And the letter back from the council was, due to a technical difficulty, we're no longer to process this parking ticket, so you're not liable for it. Now, of course, everyone saw me do that, and that's the word spread like wildfire. And suddenly everyone all over the country was using contract law, which is what it's all based on as well. It's offer of a contract and rejection of a contract. So the councils, being honourable as they are, they all got together and says, well, we're going to lose a load of money. No one's going to pay any parking tickets anymore. What are we going to do?
Sorry, Mark, did you say honourable then?
Yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, but I can't believe you said that bloody word. You didn't actually say honourable, did you?
Well, that's not. My MP, the Honourable Ken Clark, and well-known paedophile. That's how you know when the paedophiles, because they name themselves as honourable. But so all the councils, being honourable as they were, realised they were going to lose a load of money, so they got together and decided, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just ignore contract law. So someone's figured out that this is an offer of a contract and that we have to abide by them if they reject it. Well, we'll just ignore contract law, and then we'll go to the bulk centre, and then we'll send bailiffs round, and, well, they're screwed then, aren't they? So that's what they did. They decided to ignore contract law totally, breaking the law themselves every time they issue a ticket and don't accept that it's been rejected. But this is what's becoming apparent to, well, I've known it for a long time, but everyone else is starting to catch up now, that they're crooks. At the end of the day, they're just crooks.
Yeah. This is why I've concentrated on this 320 million from the KC shares, because basically this money that they can't account for, it's 320 million pounds, 49% of the KC shares money shares that they floated, and they received 320 million pounds. And I keep saying that because it's such a humongous figure. They cannot and I've got 4 FOIs over 7 years, asking them how you spend this money, and never ever anything off them at all. And report it to the police. By their laws, they've broken it. It's theft, like you keep saying that. They're breaking their own laws to sue, and it's wrong. This is why the people, and you keep saying, everyone is asking the same questions now. What is going to happen? How can we change this? It needs to be more and more people start asking, not asking them, because you're just going to get ignored. No matter what. No matter when you go to their courts, you get ignored. You cannot get justice. It's a proven fact.
Yeah, can you?
Which is a shame.
Sorry, Colin. Can Mark give that reference out again regarding council tax and the trust?
Yeah, well, council tax is a trust. I'm not going to give too much away on this because, like, I've got friends working on this literally as we talk. But it is a trust. And while we're actually on that subject, so are utilities. They're also a trust. And some of you might not get why it's a trust, but as soon as I say why, it'll be, of course, yeah, it's obvious. And I'm going to tell you why now. Did you get that?
I sort of did, yeah.
No, the reason why is because there is no money. We're all bankrupt. We deal in debt notes. You can't pay a debt with a debt. So if there is no money, the trusters to pay it. So they create the trust without telling us, and they enter us into this trust, perfectly legitimate, because let's not forget, they write the laws, although they're not laws, they're statutes and acts, which, by the way, only apply to barristers and solicitors or members of the Bar Society, but they conned us into thinking that these statutes and acts apply to us as well, which they do not. But because there's no money, they have to create what's called a trust, because there's no way they wanted paying with bits of paper that they printed. You know, I've printed promissory notes off, and if I gave it to you, you'd go, what's that? And it's exactly the same as a 10, 5, 20, 50, if they still make 50s. It's a promissory note, exactly the same, because there is no money. And why even intelligent men and women don't seem to get there is no money. The only money of any real sort of value is gold and silver and some other precious metals, but there is no money. Money is printed on paper by a criminal cartel known as the Bank of England, and then they sell it to the government, who then charge you interest by the banks to borrow some of their fake money, and that's why they needed to create a trust, because otherwise you might not pay it back. But when you realise it's a trust and you know how to get out of a trust, it's game over.
That's maybe then why people think that the mortgages often are a fraud, because, again, it's based on the trust element. Someone's been waiting for a while to chat. He's from America. He's Stash. He knows all about common law and trusts, funnily enough, and he sent me a trustee handbook put around on Facebook for everyone to have a look at, maybe on Mark and Colin's wall. Stash, go ahead.
Oh, hello. Thanks for letting me jump in. Yeah, the idea of the trust thing, in that trustee handbook, there's a line in there, and Rockefeller said it, and we can all use it. The way to be rich is to own nothing but control everything. All of the Rockefeller assets are in trusts. You can't track back their personal assets because they have none. They all go into a trust and they get beneficial use of those assets. And I've been studying this, of course, to create a trust for my festival so that I can keep governments and corporations out of that. They have no business in it. But also, I'm working on the idea of a personal trust for that very same reason, so that anything I have goes into the trust, it belongs to the trust, and they can't come after me for my own personal belongings. Over.
So how do you do that then? So basically you're saying, right, I've got a car, and I'm putting that car in my daughter's name for a trust, or the daughter's trust fund, or what?
Well, that's the idea. You become the trustor, your daughter becomes the beneficiary, and you write up the rules on how to deal with your estate. And the nice thing about a trust is you have all of the benefits of a corporation without being a corporation. You can act in both the private and the commercial. And the trust does all the commercial dealings as a legal entity. It becomes that. And it's well stated in trust law in the international trust law that, pretty much an express trust is inviolable, unpenetrable. You don't even have to let anybody know that there's a trust there. You don't have to show your books to anyone.
Exactly, but the most important thing is they have no jurisdiction over a trust.
Exactly.
But if you've got bailiffs coming to your door, sorry, mate, if you've got bailiffs banging on your door, that, and we've seen it over here a few times, I don't know if you've had it in America yet, where the bailiffs come, the police come, they break down your door, they empty your house. You can't say, well, this is all in trust and they'll leave it alone. Just take it anyhow.
No. That's only if you don't have the paperwork to back up. You see, this is where a lot of them going wrong. They've been listening to some that have talked about trust, and they said, oh, yeah, if you think a trust, then it's a trust. Now, it is to a degree, but if you're going to get into difficulties where you've got to prove it, well, how are you going to prove that your thought was a trust? So you have to express it. You express the trust, and the reason they have no jurisdiction is because they will take you to the Mags Court or County Court or even Crown Court. Crown Courts, Mags Courts and County Courts have no jurisdiction where trust is concerned. It can only go to Chancery. And it's going to cost them an arm and a leg to take you to Chancery. And if they lose, they're going to owe, well, probably more than they're chasing you for in the first place, which is why they won't do that.
Right, so if I draw up a piece of paper, Colin Worrall has hereby given his daughter all his assets, his car, his house, his interior, everything, sign it, all that stuff, then does that go straight through?
No.
Right. Confusing.
Yeah.
Also, there's the idea that you're not actually giving it to your daughter, because if you did, then they could come after her for taxes and such. What you're doing is you are putting it in an account, basically, in trust. It is being held for her for when you pass on, so that your estate doesn't go into probate. It's already decided what's going to happen to your estate. And probate is where you lose most of it, because they're buying back and forth the costs and everything. But with a trust, it's already stipulated. And basically, trust law is however you write your trust. That's what I've been reading anyway. You make the law on your estate and on how your things are dealt with. You're not following their stipulations, rules, regulations, ordinances, bullshit rules. You're creating your own, and that trust is a legal entity that they have to take on. So it has a lot of benefits. It really does. All of the rich people use it. All the rich people use it. They don't own a thing. Everything they own is in a trust. And they cannot, you go to sue a Rockefeller, you're going to get bupkis, nothing, because you have to go to their trust. There's a legendary trust I've been trying to explore called the Goldwater Trust. Apparently Barry Goldwater had an ironclad trust that has never been pierced. So trust law, again, this comes back to education, and I have been on this ever since every talk we've had, that there's only one way you're going to beat them, and that's to educate yourself. No one's going to do it for you. Yeah. And the other thing that we have a problem with, of course, and it was brought up earlier, is enforcement. Who are you going to take your complaints to? You can't take it to the police when you're complaining about a police officer. You can't even take it to the courts. So that's one of the reasons why people in America are working so hard on getting the continental marshals and continental judges, the de jure Article 3 type courts going again. So we get out of this commercial realm.
So how many in America are doing it the same as what we're trying? We're trying to do exactly the same thing in England. We're booting out the corrupt crap. We're exposing the corrupt crap. I mean, it's just as rife as what your place is, by the sounds of it. But we're struggling here because I'm one of these that so like I'm gonna go out and do stuff like arrest them, like. Because to me, this is the only way forward. There's no other way forward. At least I'm doing something. I don't know about your area, what you're doing, but we're all in everyone's talking about it. Everyone knows about it. We're just so like, all of us are still waking up. It's just going to be frigging bedlam, isn't it?
It is, but there are people waking up. And you see, part of our purpose here is to provide a direction. I've had this problem before where I've awakened people and they're running around in circles all pissed off and they don't know what to do. And this is the biggest thing. You have to take action. You can't just run around like a chicken with your head cut off and complain and whatever. You have to step up and do something about it. You have to lose your fear. I'm in the middle of a legal battle right now. And it's, believe me, when they stopped me, I had this feeling I was not going to walk away unscathed. You know, they love to beat up people here in America these days. But I managed to get out without, with only the bruises from the handcuffs. But I'm fighting them on their battleground. And again, I can make all these complaints, I can file charges, I can put commercial liens against them in their private individual capacity, but enforcement is still an issue, and this is what we're going to have to solve, or we're going to have a global French Revolution where all of the elites are taken, Nuremberg defense or not. No, I don't care if you're doing your job, you did something wrong. We're going to have to people in power never willingly give up their power. Never. It's never happened in the history of humanity. People in power have to be taken down. You have to. There's no way around it. They're psychotic. So this is what it comes down to. When enough people are stepped on, when enough people have said, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore, then you'll start to see miraculous action. But until we all get so thoroughly pissed off that we're all willing to overcome our fear and step up, I've already reached that point. I started studying this stuff back in 1969 when I had to enlist in the Navy to keep from getting drafted in a war that wasn't even a war. So I've been there, since then, just learning my rights, educating myself, reading all the foundational documents of our country to see the way it's supposed to be, and knowing the law, not legal systems, but the law. And you have to make that
present them with, isn't it? Sorry, that's what we've got to present them with, isn't it? When we start arresting these people and that, like, you have broken this law, you have broken this law, you have broken this law. Then
the problem is you're classing their statutes and acts as laws. They're not. Oh yeah.
No. They're not laws. They are. They're rule books that go in the company, employees' handbook. That's it. They're for the company employees.
Yep.
Those who are U.S. citizens, those who work for the government, those who live, for instance, in a government territory. In this case, we have Washington, D.C., Guam, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. Boy, are we ruining Puerto Rico.
You just.
But that's the loss for them. John Q. Public, we the people citizen, they can't even talk to us. They are fictitious entities. They can only deal with other fictitious entities, other corporations, businesses, but they can't even talk to a living human being. I heard a great little ditty the other day. A guy walked into court with his birth certificate, and they called his name, and he said, "The defendant is here and would like to pay." And he held up his birth certificate. He walked over to the prosecutor, and he put it face down on the desk, and he said, "The defendant will pay as soon as you put the trust number and the QSIP number for the bond and the trust on here." Well, the prosecutor got up and left the room. He took it to the judge and did the same thing. You put the bond number and the QSIP number of the trust, and the defendant, the alleged defendant, will be happy to pay. He got up and left the court. He turned around to the court reporter and said, "The court has been abandoned. It is now my court. I judge this case as discharged, dismissed, expunged, take it off the record," and walked out. And he never heard another word. They can't tell you the truth.
No, up to now he hasn't. Up to now he hasn't. If you've done that over here with council tax and stuff like that, and it's just basically they've ignored it until they've sent out the letters again to start harassing the peoples and just
again you're slipping here, because you're thinking council tax is lawful, which it's not. You're thinking the room the council hire out for the day is lawful, which it's not. We've been scammed so long, it's very hard to stop thinking like you've been scammed. Yeah. You've got to realise that nothing is legal. Nothing at all is legal. Right, if we talk about trust, my mate keeps messaging me, and he's saying that a trust can be expressed verbally as long as it meets the three certainties. Your primary trustee puts your car in a trust and fills in the DBLA form. And I've done this, and you can do this, and that puts the car into a trust. You've got to do like anything. Just listen to me. Doesn't make it work. You've got to do your research. That can put it into a trust, particularly in the UK. You can also have a trust within a trust, which makes it even more protected, because the first point of call is always the first trust. Now, a trust group might meet up twice a year, once a year. So any letters are only going to be answered once or twice a year. So this gives you some leeway to do some research. But again, it's down to you at the end. You have to do the research. This is the most annoying thing more than anything, because we thought we went to school to learn, and we didn't. As I said earlier, we went to school to be indoctrinated into the system. And they never taught us hardly anything that we could actually use, whereas where trusts are concerned, it's all about what we can use. You have to remember who you are in a trust. You get it wrong, you're in deep poo-poo. You're either the trustee, the beneficiary, or the settler, or you can be two of them. As far as I'm aware, someone has suggested three, but I don't see how that would work. But you can be two of them. But a settler cannot be a trustee or beneficiary. Otherwise, the titles merge and the trust collapses. You can hold two positions, but not all three. Very important. Like, I'm not going to mention the next bit that they talk about there, but remember me saying that council tax is a trust. Your utilities are a trust. Basically, in what we've just said there, that gives you your remedy, the way to collapse their trust. And you collapse their trust with your trust, and they are, as my friend quite eloquently put, effed.
Mark, can I ask a question? And I don't want to reveal any secrets, but I understand council tax being a trust. I understand about your assets can go into a trust. What I don't understand is, because they're all dealt with by the local authorities and courts and whatever, the utilities are normally private companies. That's the bit I don't understand. How can that be a trust?
Well, isn't the council a private corporation?
Well,
It is, but...
Well, that's exactly the same. Whether you call yourself United Power or whatever you call yourself, if you're a trust, you're still a trust at the end of the day, and trust rules apply. Now, we know the councils are trusts and corporations. So if they're a corporation and you've got a utility company that's a corporation, it's the same thing. They're all non-legal entities. A corporation is out for one thing and one thing only, to make profit.
As it happens, I've never paid gas, electric, and water for the last 6 years. I've used a situation just by accident where they got the wrong serial numbers on the national electric and gas systems, and then when I moved house and changed utilities, for some reason this number kept following me, and I just took advantage of it. But I'm sure there's an easier way of not paying your gas and electric and water.
Well, there is, but I'm not going to say what it is over live, because everyone will go and try it, and they'll get it wrong, and then they'll say, "Well, Mark Ceylon said do this." You've got to. Yeah. The most important thing in any of this stuff is you have to know what you're talking about, back to front, inside out, because they're going to ask you a question. If you can't answer it, you lose.
If I may, just for a second, a little hint. When you look at your electric bill, realize that it is a coupon and not an invoice. That's a hint, and I'm going to leave it at that.
It also says on it debit or credit, which confused me a little bit, but I did work it out in the end.
Well, if you know the Michael Benicia, he had a few problems going on.
Yeah, the little guy. Yeah, the little guy kind of thing.
Well, what he did is he went to court, and the judge allowed him to speak as trustee. He was already the settler and beneficiary of the trust, but as soon as he spoke as trustee, the trust collapsed because he can't play all three parts. You've got to be very careful what you say and what part you're playing. And I mention this all the time. Mate mentions it all the time. You have to be very, very careful. You basically have to know who you are. And that sounds simple, but it's nowhere near as simple as you think it is until you realise exactly who you are.
And another little thing,
but
another little thing too with a trust. Once you create it, you never say "my trust." Yeah. It is not your trust. It is a trust. It is a separate legal entity. It is not your trust. And if you do that, then that collapses the trust also once you claim it.
So what we're saying there is that once you realise how to collapse the trust, it's game over for them. And I'm not going to, and your friends aren't going to put out the information of how to do this. it's like the American guy just said. You know, once you know how to collapse, you collapse it, but you can't be spoon-fed. We've done that. I've done it. I've done it years ago, trying to spoon-feed people on numerous subjects, and what they do is once their problem goes away, and then another problem comes in a few months' time, they come back and, oh, what do I do now? And it's exactly the same thing. But they weren't doing their own research. They were relying on others to do it for them, and therefore they learned nothing. So they will always come back. This is why. I know it sounds like a ball ache, but you've got to do your own research, and it's not, and you haven't done your research until it goes into your head and you know exactly what you're talking about. When that happens, it's like a light goes on and you can take on anyone you want.
It's called the sat-nav syndrome. You know that, Mark? Because everyone that uses sat-navs, they don't know where they're going. They don't know where they've driven, and they cannot get back to where they've gone without the sat-nav.
Or as a mate of mine likes to refer to them as twat-nav.
Yeah.
I'm sure though, Mark, if people did research it, done their education work, come back to you and said, look, this is what I understand. Do you think I'm on the right lines? You would probably point them in the right direction if there wasn't, or tell them where they're going wrong, would you?
I would definitely point them in the direction, or to a friend of mine who could point them in the direction, because I've got so many things going on. You know, you know when you're juggling 3 or 4 things. Well, I'm juggling half a dozen things at the same time, and I can't keep up with everything that's going on. This is why I've got so many good mates around me that are also doing the research, but down their own personal lines, and then that we share what we've all learned. And I would never say what someone else has done. I would say you could go and ask them, or I wouldn't actually say which way to go there, because my mates are dealing with that. I'm dealing with other things, and I wouldn't want to give them wrong information.
I think the clue's already been said. You know, if you can easily, without knowing what you're doing properly, collapse your own trust, you could easily work out how to collapse somebody else's. I think you've already given us a clue, but it's reading and understanding is definitely the thing people need to do. And I'm amazed that there are ways out, and, you know, nobody's really mentioned it before. You get the odd one saying, you know, I don't pay my council tax, I don't pay this, but you don't actually get dozens of people saying it's easy if you research it.
I know many that haven't paid council tax for a long time, and what you were saying, or someone was saying earlier, if you go back to Rob B, he'd hammered Wigan Council and they couldn't touch him. So what they did in the end, they took his missus to court and tried to get her liable, but fortunately she stood up as well, and they still didn't get anything. So we're all doing it. There's lots of us out there, and just because there's the likes of me and my friends and others that are out there in the public, there are many doing this in the private, because they don't want the attention that it draws. I mean, I only found out recently, apparently, I've got an apartment or a big complex or something like that in Spain somewhere. You know, one of the trolls was telling someone that I know, and they contacted me to ask me about my new apartment that I didn't know about, and the fact that I haven't even got a passport would make it pointless having one out there. But apparently I have one, because what the trolls tend to do is that anyone that gives out information, they say they're liars, they're multi-million. Before that, I'd also got a place in the Bahamas. I've got a big mansion in the Bahamas. I'm a multi-millionaire. It's laughable what the trolls will put out there. They will put out all sorts of rubbish, and it's not unless someone comes up and actually asks me, you know, where's your place in the Bahamas? And like I say to them, well, I'm not sure. If you ever find it, let me know. You can stay as long as you want. Just let me know where it is so I can come from time to time.
I am very involved in that as well, Matt.
It's crazy. I mean, even if I was a millionaire, I would still be doing this, because this is changing
history.
Everyone.
It's making history, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, what Guy Taylor once said to me, You know, when they come to write the history in 10 or so years' time, they'll write all us down as those that stood up, and all those that didn't will go down as the enemy.
And got shot first.
Yeah. But there's nothing different between us apart from the fact we came across the information earlier and we decided to share it with everyone because it's the right thing to do.
It's not that, it's the amount of laws that these people are breaking. And
you use the word laws again. There are no laws. No, well, there's no laws. Stop using that word.
Sorry, force of habit, mate. Acts and whatever they're using to con us, basically, come to our door for you in every 4 years to say, how do you think we're doing? What is it? Do you think we're doing okay? Look, vote for us. And I've seen it firsthand where they've tampered with the ballot papers to make sure I don't get in. And it's sort of like, I'm stood there inside, boiling, saying, how dare you treat the public like this, like your personal laughing quotes or whatever you want to call them. How dare you do this to honest, hard-working people that believed in the system? Like I said, Matt, don't forget this was 3 years ago when I was first coming into it. And my whole philosophy of the full lot is, these people are coming around knocking up, well, they don't come around here anymore. They won't come around my area, the Danes, because they're that frightened of ask questions or what has happened to the money. They're that scared that they're just basically allowed to feel what they're frigging like.
Well, here's something else to think about as well. If you're paying a utility bill, you need to know where that money's going. And if that's going to arms or to kill or maim others, then you have an absolute right to withhold that. In fact, it's your duty to withhold that.
By the law.
Yeah, can I mention one particular power company? Now, I won't mention which one, but I think it began with an E. They was actually using money to buy arms, I believe, or something like that anyway. And that was a UK power supply company that was sending money to buy arms or at least to kill people anyway.
Well, so you mean British gas?
You mean that
gas
French
has been
company?
the worst one?
The French company, yes.
Yeah.
Well, British Gas have done that. They've all done it. Every single one of them is just piling money into the
right.
To the illegal war.
Well. Wait, stop it there. Here's the problem. Everyone thinks they're all individual, not connected to each other. They are absolutely, at the very top, all connected to the same lot. They are all in it together. British Gas, Eon, Western Power, you name it. They are all in the same club that you're not in.
Yeah. I know that because I've gone to town on them. I've had a go at them. I've had them absolutely, even with new ones that has popped up and rang me up and said, oh, we can save you money. How can you save me money? When my other company can't save me money. Obviously, this is 5 years ago. And I've got into it with them. Found out, well, that's because we're offering you this. Well, why can't my company offer this then? So I ring up the company, why aren't you offering this? Oh, no, we're not. Because they want you to leave, so they put you under another contract so that you don't know what you're doing for another 12 months.
Hold it there. Whoa. Now, how could they make money by you leaving?
I know.
They can't. Unless, at the very top, they're all in the same club. I guess we're running out of time. Let me just quickly run through. I'll just quickly run through some things. The utilities are issued checks from the corporate banks, and the utility companies are the draw and the drawee. You can't be both, but apparently they are. If you are the beneficiary, just say, right, this is just a mixture of things. If you're the beneficiary of a trust, and they try to talk to you, just say, write to the trustee, I'm the beneficiary, which is, in a court, the judge is the beneficiary. You're the trustee, and the prosecutor is the other one. So, that's just that.
put this on my Facebook, Mark?
I can't
Send that
because
to me Facebook.
I can't because it's someone a friend of mine messaging me privately, and
Okay.
yeah, you get the they've messaged me loads of stuff to talk about, but since we haven't got time, I'd better just leave it there for now.
Well, send them next week. Come on next week, and we'll chat some more about it.
I'll see what I'm doing, and we'll see how it goes. Like I say, I've got a lot of stuff on at the moment.
Yeah, Mark, or even come on, even on your own show or one of your colleagues, on another show to suit you.
Yeah,
so it's really whatever you can do and can't do.
Okay.
Okay, thanks everyone for a great show, and thanks Colin and Mark, Stash. It's been brilliant.